Hello, everyone. Salutations from the Ethernet out here in the gloom where we sit and wait to speak with you all on this occasion. Welcome to another spine-tingling and completely pointless episode of Long Tracks and Tall Tales. I am your co-host, Scott G. Davis of Myth of Logic, who apparently needs speech therapy. And with me today, as always, my co-host, Christopher Clark, also of Myth of Logic. Oh, we're so excited. We're so excited because the music is coming together.
It is. It's gelling.
Yeah, it's starting to gel. Whenever I get ready to do scratch vocals, it just starts to become something.
It's becoming real.
Yeah.
It's becoming a
shit's getting real up in here.
Taking a form. It's taking a form finally.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly. So anyway, we got a couple of news bits we want to cover real quick from the world of prog. The wonderful Haken, UK progressive alternative metal band, returned with the first new music in 3 years in the shape of In a Fever Dream. This new track sees the band working with a producer for the very first time, bringing in George Lever, who has previously worked with Loathe and Sleep Token, to help shape the next stage of the band, crafting some of the most emotionally direct material of their career so far. For this track, the band enlisted renowned bassist Brian Beller of the Aristocrats, Death Clock, Joe Satriani. I saw Brian play with Joe. So be on the lookout for that. I've listened to it once. I like it. On first listen, it really grabs.
I like everything Haken has done. So if it comes out and it's got Haken's name on it, I'm going to be giving it a listen. I haven't heard this new song yet, but now that you have told me about it, I will definitely be grabbing it as soon as we're done here so that I can give it a listen myself.
I will say that there's an awful lot of, let's call them Dream Theater juniors out there, for lack of a better word. And I think Haken sort of distinguishes themselves with their own sort of approach and shape. They're in that umbrella, but they're different. I appreciate Haken quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to that. Also in the news, Yes has a new single out. Steve Howe, Jeff Downs, John Davis, and Billy Sherwood, Jay Shellen, proud to announce the 24th studio album, Aurora, to be released June 12th, 2026 via Inside Out. They are pleased to launch the new single Turnaround Situation, accompanied by a visualizer created by Matt Hutchings, who also made the video for Aurora. It's out there. I've listened to it once. Again, I'm very struck by it.
Are you?
Yeah. That along with the previous track. What was the previous track called?
I think it was Aurora.
Turnaround Situation. Yeah, Aurora. Yeah,
Aurora.
Of course. Yeah. That's why I couldn't remember it, because it's too obvious.
It's the title of the album.
If this is where the mighty Yes are going, the mighty Steve Howe Yes, if this is where they're going, I'm fully in support of it. I'm very excited about it because I think for the first time since they began recording, probably without John Anderson, going back a ways, I think they have finally discovered a path forward that embraces their past and celebrates it, but there's something new and different about it.
I like it. And I haven't heard the new single either, although you and I talked about this. I was very much taken with Aurora, the first single. I think it was great. So
if I have a complaint, it says with Aurora, the bass is not mixed hot enough, but I am a bass player, so of course I'm going to say that.
Of course you are.
Outside of that, I love it. It's I
can't wait to hear it. It's another one I'm going to have to listen to when we're done here.
Yeah, I will say thumbs up.
I have a couple of tiny news items myself.
Do it.
One of which has absolutely nothing to do with anything musical. My Premier League team, Arsenal, won the Premier League today for the first time in 22 years. The last
All
time they
right.
won the Premier League, it was the Invincibles back in 2004. I've been a fan since I was like 7 or 8 years old. I love them to death, and so today, mwah, come on, you Gunners, Premier League champions. Now we got to go win the Champions League later this. I think it's this week. We play Paris Saint-Germain to see if we win the Champions League. So that has nothing to do with music, but I'm so very happy about that. I
Very
also
cool.
I didn't want to just show people this. I don't know if you care about this or anybody does, but I love Les Claypool and Primus. Well,
Mm.
this is the Great Parrot Ox and the Golden Egg of Empathy, which is the new Lennon Claypool Lennon Delirium record. It is so cool. It comes in a bigger. It's the CD. Looks like it comes in a huge book, and it's got the Delirium comics. It's got a full comic about the album, and then it's got the album. And if you're a fan of Claypool and Lennon and all that style of music, this is really really cool. It just came out, so I was just going to give a plug to that.
Nice.
Yep. That's gonna be a good one to give a listen to. So
Never let it be said that Les Claypool did not give his fans their money was worth
oh no,
at
he's
all
in like
times.
50 different projects.
I believe you received something else in the mail, didn't you? You were
Which one?
showing me
Oh,
earlier.
yes.
Please show that off.
Yes, very much,
Please.
very proud of this. Got it
Yes.
from the estate of Kevin Gilbert. Oh yes, the shaming of the true, the Kevin Gilbert record.
That is, folks, and some of you know this, that is my favorite album ever recorded. I hope I'm not overselling it because I don't believe you've listened to it yet, have you?
I have not.
Okay, I hope I'm
That's
not
not it.
overselling it. I hate it when people say, "Oh, is this the greatest thing ever?" And the one of the great things about that album is that I didn't always think it was the greatest album ever recorded.
Right.
I initially really liked it because at that time I really liked Kevin Gilbert a ton.
Right.
But over time, and that plays into our discussion today.
Yes,
And
it
the
does.
topic today is Prog is a long, slow train attempting to compete on a fast, modern track. And that is where the discussion is today. We want to compare and contrast and maybe complain a little bit about the classic prog records that we all love. Two of them behind me right here, Close to the Edge by Yes.
Mhm.
And my favorite, next to Shaming of the True, my favorite record ever recorded, Trilogy by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. These were records that were rich in texture and depth and took years to really get into the marrow of our listening glands and stay with us to an extent that we just take them to our souls. You know, those are the records that really stay with you. And for me, those are never the records that I immediately love. There are
This
always
is very
those.
there it is. The almost every record that I love from the older era did not like did I'm not going to say I hated it. It did not grab me and I did not love it like I love it now. It takes
Yeah.
time and digestion of what they're doing and multiple listens to really get it. It really does.
Yeah. And that's, we are friends. Those of you tuning in, we are putting our money where our proverbial mouths are on this particular topic.
Yep.
We have decided that from now on, at the end of the year, when everyone is doing their best of the year, we are going to do the best of the year 3 years prior. So This December, while everyone is doing the top records of 2026, we will be doing our favorites of 2023 because we've had 3 years to get to know those albums and get inside them and let them absorb to us.
That's actually going to be quite fun, I think.
I'm really looking forward to it because I reached a point when I started making Mythologic records in 2021 when the process first started, where it just seemed like it was all too much, all too quick.
Yeah.
There are hundreds. I don't know how folks like the wonderful folks over at Sea of Tranquility and Pete Pardo and Scott Lade and everyone else trying to do these comprehensive end of year lists. I have no idea how they do it. There are hundreds of great progressive rock albums released every year now. Mm-hmm. There's no way that you can not only it's one thing to brush over all of those in a casual first pass listen. great prog cannot be appreciated in the way that great pop can be appreciated.
That's right.
It doesn't take much to like a Michael Jackson record or a Beatles record or an Eagles record. They're designed to grab you immediately and stay with you for the
Yep.
most part. A King Crimson record takes a while. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes careful and concentrated and considerate listening. And
And
that's
this
what we're
does
going to.
not just apply to older prog. It
No,
does
no. Mhm,
very
mhm.
much. But I'm going to give you a perfect example. It's a band that we're going to be talking about when we do a teaching episode, and that is the Tangent, who are my second favorite band in the world after Rush. They You cannot listen to a Tangent record and go, okay, I have a grasp of it now. No, you have to listen to it multiple times. It's deep. You have to really, really, really dive into it and delve into it and figure out what it is that Andy Tillison and company are doing there. And it's a modern example of what we're talking about with the older records. I'll give you an older record. You won't care for it because you don't really care for this band yet. You might eventually. Pawn Hearts by Vandergraaf Generator.
Mhm.
The very first time I ever listened to that, I was like, what in the hell is this? What is going on here? I'm so flummoxed and confused right now. Why this is noise? How did this make it on an album? It is now one of my favorite albums of all of my progressive rock albums, and it took long time, multiple listens, really, really digesting it and figuring out what it is that they're after. And then things click when that happens. But that's what this whole point of this is. This is a long and slow train. This is not the bullet train to China or wherever it is that you're going. This
Right.
is the long, slow ride that you have to take if you're going to learn to really appreciate. And not just, and that's the thing about prog. I think prog you can listen to pop, modern pop, and enjoy it, but not really appreciate it. You're just enjoying it because, okay, it's digestible, it's in my head, the beats makes me do this. That's all I need from it. Well,
Mhm.
that's not what any of this is about. That's not what any of prog is about. It's not there for you to just be like, oh, okay, so here we are on a surface level. It is so much deeper. Progressive rock, by and large, and I mean every subgenre, rock in opposition, avant garde, neo prog, symphonic prog, progressive metal. They're all designed with lots of intricacies thrown in that you have to really delve into and discover. And it takes more than one listen to do that. And the modern era, and you and I have talked about this, the modern era is not conducive to it because we live in an information age where everything's immediate. Everything happens right there. How many bands are popular because of a 15-second TikTok soundbite? I mean, how ridiculous is that? Can you imagine a prog band, Scott, being famous because of a 15-second soundbite on TikTok of a piece of a prog song? Can you imagine that?
Well, not to anyone who gets it.
Exactly.
You can't take one bite of a perfectly cooked steak and be satisfied. It's about the experience, the stuff leading up to it and the stuff after it.
Mhm.
Well, let's use a meal since it's come up. Let's use a meal as a parallel.
All
Okay.
right.
I love to have a great steak.
Me too.
Leading up to the steak, you have some whiskey. You know,
Well, I don't.
you
But
do. You
okay.
enjoy some whiskey for an hour or so beforehand in anticipation of what's coming. And then while you're enjoying your steak and your perfectly done potato and salad and whatever else you have, we have a little bit of red wine while we're doing that. It
Yeah.
also enhances the experience further. And then afterwards, possibly you have another whiskey or you go on to a dessert. And I maintain I'm not a complete dessert Nazi, but I maintain that nothing enhances the pleasure and enjoyment of a great meal like the anticipation of a wonderful dessert that just rolls it all out. You just enjoy it that much more because you know the dessert is coming. Prague is very much like that. Great Prague. Let's use Close to the Edge
All
as
right.
an example. The not and I'm not talking about just the side one suite of Close to the Edge, which by itself is a meal. I'm talking about the whole album. It has the same journey through it. It's ups and downs, and there's longer bits and lower bits, and um, powerful bits and more quiet. It takes you from somewhere to somewhere else.
Right.
I've always liked to think that the great prog albums are the ones that, no matter how many times you've listened to them, if you sit down and listen carefully, concerted listening, once you get to the end, you feel different than when you first started.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many times I've heard Close to the Edge, I can't just listen to one song off of it. I have to listen to all three in order, and I listen to the whole thing as the band intended. And I feel different. I feel changed. I feel altered in whatever way by the end of it. So, and like you've said very accurately, this isn't just classic prog. This is modern prog as well. There are plenty of absolutely wonderful modern prog artists out there. What was the recent tangent that you shared as a record of the day, an album of the day?
Le Sacre du Travail, which is the right of work, and it is my favorite progressive rock concept album of all time. I mean, you can't put a concept album up above it, in my opinion. It is so good. It is just.
I will freely admit that I don't know much about the Tangent. I've heard enough over the years to know that I like them and that I want to know more. When you are a songwriter and an artist in the progressive realm, I try not to listen to anything that I wasn't initially influenced by.
Right.
When I'm in the writing mode, I don't want to be inadvertently influenced by anything the Tangent or Angie is, or Andy. My wife's name is Angie.
Perfectly valid slip up there.
Yeah. My wife's name is Angie. Sorry, Andy.
Andy.
It's something that it's plausible deniability, basically. I don't want to be inadvertently influenced by that. But I think I've reached a point where I've established a myth of logic mode that is uniquely mine, that I can hang my hat on and continue there. So I've begun allowing myself the pleasure and the luxury of listening to some of these artists that have escaped me. And that album, say it for me again.
Le Sacre du Travail. It means the right of work.
When you shared it, I went and listened to it. And on first listen, there were things I really enjoyed right away and things that didn't hit me right away. And I listened to it a second time, and strangely, the things that I didn't really like the first time through, I liked more. And the things that hit me right away, I liked a little less. So they sort of balanced themselves out a bit. And so I'm in the process of learning to appreciate the Tangent. That's why, friends, we are going to be doing what we call a teaching moment episode. I know very little about the Tangent. Mr. Christopher knows just about more than anybody else in the entire world about the Tangent. So on a future episode, we will hopefully be having a special guest who will be joining us, and we will be doing nothing but talking about the Tangent, educating me and hopefully you as well about the greatness that is the Tangent. The thing that I like about them, about everything that I've come across with the Tangent so far, is that there seems to be a vast palette. There doesn't seem to be a lot of, I don't want to say repetition.
I think the term you're looking for is there's no pigeonholing with them. They don't pigeonhole themselves into one specific thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that word. It's a very broad palette and sometimes even moment to moment. And to me, that's what great prog should be. So I'm excited to embark on this journey down this rabbit hole.
I'm excited for you because I think you're going to absolutely love them. And they're very germane to today's discussion because they are a prime. I would use them as a textbook example of slow train prog. It is not a fast bullet train. You have to really sit on it and listen to it and get to know it. And the more you do, the more you love it. And with almost very little, there are a few people I know that just can't get into them. And I get it. If you can't, but almost all of the prog friends I have that did not know of the Tangent, that have actually sat down. There's one I'm thinking of right now, Mr. Graham Harfleet. He is one of my great friends. I'm on his Progzilla radio show almost every week. He just loves the Tangent, and it took It took time, and he'll be the first to tell you, I had to sit there with it 6, 7, 8 times and listen to it to really, really appreciate it. But it's a perfect example of that. They are a perfect example of that.
See, and it occurs to me as well, we're talking about how long it takes some prog to seep in. I think it occurs to me that the fans, specifically of certain bands, but let's talk about Yes as an example. Those fans, we're talking about the No John, No Yes fans, okay? Those are the people who have truly absorbed that music in its original form into their souls, and they can't accept anything else. And we have to respect that viewpoint, even if we don't quite agree with it.
Oh, yes.
Because of what we're talking about, that process of absorption, that process of really letting a piece of music, any piece of music, really letting it inside you and becomes part of your marrow, the part of your brain and your heart that just embraces that music. So, yeah, the tangent is something I know enough to know that I want to know more. And everything that I've listened to in the past, and I've listened to several things in the past, I've always thought, yeah, there's something there. I really like that. There's always a little bit of Flower Kings about them, and that's to be expected.
Yeah, of course.
But it's never. Well, it always kind of makes me smile because one assumes that Roy Stolt is the, ruler and mastermind of the Flower Kings, and then you hear, the other members of Flower Kings, past and present, go off and do other things, and you hear kind of a little flavor of that. And you think, okay.
Yep.
Maybe it wasn't just Royna's flavor. Maybe it was some of Jonas's flavor, or whoever else that's, Tomas Bodin, who is just an astonishing keyboard player.
Right.
Getting off on a Flower Kings tangent.
Oh, we're good. That's part of, but all of this is germane to today because all of these bands we're talking about, every one of them so far that we've talked about is a slow burn must listen to understand and comprehend. Every one of them.
Bringing up Thomas Bodine, I've seen them play twice. I saw them on the Adam and Eve tour, and I saw them on the Paradox Hotel tour. For some strange, I don't know why they ended up playing in Seminole, Florida, on the Adam and Eve tour in a little club. I have no idea why they were here. I think it was before all the Cruise to the Edge thing, so I don't think there was really any reason for them to be here. But somebody locally loved the Flower Kings and promoted the show and got them to come. And I know at that time they spent some time on the beach and had themselves a good time. And then they came a few years later. They came again to Largo, which is very close to here as well. And again, another small theater. And it was just so wonderful. I'm so glad I went to those shows. Another little news piece I want to digress on for a second before I forget about it. Friends, the Mighty Musical Box is mounting a full-scale American tour, and then there were Phil, where they are recreating the Mirrors tour, which was and then there were 3 tour, basically.
That is awesome.
I am so excited. They're coming here December the 5th to the Capitol Theater in downtown Clearwater. I've already got my tickets. I am so excited because I just love me some Genesis, and particularly of that era. I would have gone to see the Musical Box no matter what, the current recreation was. They've done a lot of different eras of Genesis, but this one in particular, I'm very excited. So if the Musical Box is coming your way, please set yourself up with some tickets. It promises to be a spectacle. I made sure and I didn't buy tickets too close up because this is a show where I want to see,
the spectacle from a distance.
Yeah. So I'm excited about all
that. I'm glad for you. That's awesome. If they came anywhere near here, I'd go see them, but I don't think they are. I don't think they're headed anywhere out like in West
It would
Texas.
Surprise me if they don't hit Dallas, Houston, something.
Yeah, none of those are close. Dallas is 5 hours, which is, relatively. Houston is 9. Amarillo's 4. Lubbock, if they came to Lubbock would be 2. El Paso's 4. There's no good way around it. It's not easy to get here anywhere from here. I guess I could fly to Houston and it would take an hour, or to Dallas and it would take an hour. But
we're lucky. The theater they're playing at here is 8 miles to the north of my house. So
that's marvelous. That's so good for you.
And it's
That's
a
great.
nice little theater. Any of you watching in the local area who have not been to the Capitol Theater in Clearwater, keep an eye on their schedule and buy tickets and go there. It's a wonderful little theater. The acoustics are wonderful. They have all kinds of great We've seen probably, I bet we've seen 30 shows there over the years. We saw the Dregs in there. We saw Gino Vanelli in there. I saw Greg Lake in that room
Oh, that's cool.
when he was doing his Songs of a Lifetime tour.
That's
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
awesome
cool.
little place. So, anyway, I guess what we wanted to express in this episode was our desire for people to sort of open up their hearts to the long slog that sometimes prog can be, the good stuff, the stuff that sticks with you, the stuff that really means something to you.
The good
It's
news is twofold. First of all, people who really like prog don't mind the long slog, so that's
yeah,
good. Secondly, it is an area where I think a lot of social media has really helped gel the community. We have a lot of prog stuff in Facebook and stuff like that, where people like me, who I do my album of the day, and it's a prog album to get prog out there. You have all these different progressive rock communities you can get into on YouTube. We have the Prog Corner with Scott Lade. We have us, but these venues and these avenues are helping spread that and kind of making us a more of a cohesive unit that has a voice somewhere. And that's the biggest problem with me is Prague has always been the outlier, because the mass community and the radio people and all of the hits people, they don't want to mess with Prague. It's too long. I mean, it's so funny. It's just laughing. I just laugh every time I see this. I saw something. I think it was on an Instagram or a TikTok or something, but this one girl was like, "Oh my God, have you heard the new Taylor Swift album? She has like a 7-minute long song on there. Only Taylor Swift could do that." And I'm like, "Honey, you have zero clue what in the hell you are talking about. You know, Lie Back and Think of England by The Tangent is 30 minutes. How many Flower King songs are over 20 minutes long? I mean,
a
there's an
lot of
album
them.
that has 4 of them that are over 20 minutes long. The mass population has no earthly clue what they're talking about when they're talking about song composition and length. They think, "Oh, that's an 11-minute long song." Well, you obviously don't get it. Or, that's a 13-minute long song. You have to, if you're going to do prog and you do it in that vein, like the Flower Kings and Tangent and Vandergraaf Generator and all those people who do long songs, you're packing a lot into there. It's not all gibberish and nonsense. It all has a meaning. It has sections, and you have to listen to them. But it never ceases to amaze me how many people think, "Oh man, only Taylor Swift could get away with a 7-minute long song." Like, that's long. I'm like, that's nothing compared to a lot of prog songs. And I'm not down in Taylor Swift. I think
Oh,
she's fine with what she does. People who like her, more power to you. Obviously, she's doing something very right, because she is where she is, and that's great. But
right.
that just you have this much of a limited vision of what the world of music is if you think that a 7-minute long Taylor Swift song is just unbelievable and astounding. How could anyone do that? Open your eyes a little bit. Look at the prog community and look at those songs and start listening to those, and really open your mind to what's possible with music. And that's
So I think what we're saying is don't have a fast food mentality about a gourmet meal.
correct.
Look, speaking from my own, I've always told people this. I'm a big fan of great pop music, and I
So am I.
always will be because that's what I grew up with.
Sure.
The other day, I typically drive my own car, which is a little more broke down than my wife's, and I was driving my wife's car, and it was on the radio station she normally listens to, and I was running out to get us some breakfast and come back, and I had the radio on, and PYT by Michael Jackson
Oh
came
yeah,
on,
great
and
song.
I had heard that song before, but I had never really listened to it. She has a great stereo in her car. It's such an absolutely flawlessly produced
It's
and
beautiful.
placed song. It has so many little it's almost got proggy stuff buried in there. All these little touches and these little background vocals and these
Yep.
little instrumental parts. The way it's constructed is very meticulous. And I was struck by that. I'm like, because Michael Jackson being in the news now as much as ever, both in good ways and bad ways, you
Mhm.
can't fault the records that the man made. He made some absolutely spectacular pop records. And I've told people when I've talked about my own process before, I could write 3-minute songs if I wanted to. But when I'm writing in the mode that speaks to my soul,
Mhm.
which is Myth of Logic, I
Mhm.
write till it's finished. Sometimes there's some short tunes coming up on this next record.
Mhm.
There's a couple under 4 minutes. There's one that's only 2 minutes,
Mhm.
but there's one that's close to 15. I
Yep.
write till it's finished, until it's completed. And if the length doesn't, I don't care how long
Yeah.
a song is. I don't sit down saying, I'm going to write a 78-minute epic.
Right.
No, that's not how I will ever
I have
approach
I
it.
have a great meme I shared on the Tangent webpage, and it's Gandalf, and he's sitting there with his pipe, and the meme says, "A progressive rock song is neither too short nor too long. It is precisely as long as it needs to be."
Exactly.
And that's exactly, and then that's the way I look at it. They're that long because that's how long they need to be. They're not that long for the sake of being that long. They're that long because that's where the muse spoke, and that's where the muse took the writer, and that's where it went. And so you got to get it out of your mind that, like, oh well, if it has to be, well, if it's 30 minutes long, I can't possibly listen to 30 minutes worth of music. Well, that's not true. Listen to it and see. You'll see. I just
It's
I
it's
would.
sort of it's sort of funny now too, because I'm midway through the process. The music is completed as far
Mhm.
as we know. I have the music written, melodies, arrangements pretty much solidified. They're getting modified a little bit as the lyrics come along, but it's so funny because while I'm writing the music, I really feel like I'm driving a bus. When it comes to the lyrics, I feel like the lyrics are pulling me along,
That's interesting.
because I have an idea what I want to say, and until I see it written in front of me and absorb a meaning from it, I really don't know. And the words, it's hard to explain. It feels like it's leading me. So I guess what I'm trying to say in reference to what you just said, which I agree with, it's done when it's done. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm pushing the boat myself, and other times I'm a passenger. There's no explaining the process. So, but if I wanted to, I could write I could write 3 and 4 minute pop songs all day
Of
long,
course you could.
but it wouldn't be genuine.
Right.
They would be contrived. And of course, a lot of modern pop music is pretty friggin' contrived.
Don't get me started. Now
So,
listen, and that's a big deal. This is a different discussion for a different day. But there's a
mhm,
very large difference between the pop music of the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s and today's pop music.
yeah.
Today's pop music in the 2020s is a different creature, and it's not a good creature. I'm
No,
not going
it's
to get
not.
in. It's not a good creature. So,
I'm going to interject my own opinion, and I've said it many times, and I can back this up with paperwork. The best pop music that was ever written was done in the 70s, period. 1970s pop music was the apex. You could not make crappy records in the 70s. You could not. There's a few exceptions, but by and large, the big hits, the things you heard on the record, were impeccably played, purposefully written, wonderfully performed. You could not suck in any way
right.
and be successful in the 70s. By the time the 80s come along, it's more about image, it's more about sound. Does the record sound good? Is it a good song? Who cares? Does it sound good? That's what the 80s became, and that's
Mhm.
when I sort of tuned out. Now there is great pop music in the 80s.
Oh
I
yes.
personally, there's a lot of things to love about the 80s in terms of pop music, but by the time the 90s came along, you just lost me. You really did lose me. It seemed to be less about music and more about something else. And
Well,
that's another topic
in
for
the
another
in the
day.
pop music realm, yes, we did get into a little heavier realms in the '90s that I enjoyed
Hmm.
for what they were, but they're not pop. Pop
No.
music really did begin to really lose its way in the '90s.
Yeah.
And it has continued to lose its way. It's completely lost as an art form now, in my opinion. It completely
Yeah.
lost. But
Yeah.
that's a topic for another day. We need we
Yeah.
that's This has been a good discussion, though. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a long time coming too. We've needed to have this discussion because, we're part
It's
of this form. We're part of this genre. So
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely. So I think that about covers the subject for today.
it does.
If you want to know anything, and I'm talking to all you listeners and viewers out there, if you want to know anything about Mythologic or anything that we do or involved with tangentially or directly, you will find us on Facebook. You'll find us both on Instagram. The website is mythologic.com. You can pick up our physical product at Laser CD. Laser CD, Ken Golden over there is stocking Memory of After. He is stocking Light at the End. Bandwagon USA has the entire catalog. If you want autographed copies or you want high quality full bandwidth downloads, you'll find us at the Mythologic Bandcamp for all of that stuff. And of course, Mr. Christopher has his daily album of the day, which you should subscribe to and check out because I've discovered a lot of new favorites on his album of the day. So he has quite the voluminous collection and a brain to back them up and listening skills to help guide you into new and treacherous waters where your listening is concerned. So do that. Avail yourself of that. So anyway, that's all we got for today on this episode of Long Tracks and Tall Tales. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, hey, what the hell? Like, subscribe, come see us again. We're too goofy to go away. We don't know how to do anything
we're not
else.
going away. We're just going to be goofy bastards out here. So you might as well be goofy bastards with us.
Yeah, we're just going to point a camera at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, until we are together, dear friends, be good to one another.